Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Hey everybody, I wanted to make a video update / devlog about the development and current state of Off-Killter, the WebVR game I'm currently working on, where you play as a robot QA tester at Killter Innovations. This is my first VR game, and if you haven't played it yet or watched the previous gameplay videos, the basic gameplay loop is currently composed of capturing recordings of your movement and replaying those on newly manufactured robots to verify their functionality. The defective robot will make mistakes during its replays, and the player must move a crane and select the defective robot using a control panel to win. When I was coming up with the initial concept for Off-Killter, all I knew was that I wanted it to revolve around the mechanic of recording and playing back the user's movement. When I was implementing the recording and playback mechanic, I was thinking about ways to gamify it, and I tossed around a few different options. The original idea I came up with was to have the replay avatars be robots, suspects, and an interrogation lineup. The mutated avatar would be your suspect, and he tries to flee or attack you. Another idea was that the player was acting as security for a robot casino, with the goal of identifying the suspect intruders before they gained entrance. As I finished implementing the main mechanic, I designed a placeholder interrogation room, just a scene with a basic table and 2 rooms separated by a glass pane window. I transferred the code into my main scene and started updating the UI. Then I came up with the idea of making the room into a factory. Then the player of course is working in that factory with robots, which eventually led into the current build where you're QA testing robots as they roll off of the assembly line. I wanted to start updating the scene and adding some props, and I figured a good first addition would be a help manual. Of course nobody wants to read just a bunch of text on a wall, so I added physics to the scene and then created a book-like help manual that I placed on the table. And since I had physics, I figured why not add some extra stuff, so I started adding boxes, I added shelves, chairs, stuff like that. And then I also created a factory where the robots would come from, and the crane, the dumpster, and everything. And so before long I had a brand new scene. Eventually I knew there needed to be at least one more gameplay mechanic to sort of make the whole thing kind of feel like a real game. So I added the control panel and the joystick to help further gamify picking the defective robot. That made selecting the endgame defective robot just that much more satisfying than pointing and clicking the motion controllers. Some of the personal highlights for me were obviously implementing the main recording and replay mechanic. I'm really glad I took the time to start this project and implement that. I was inspired by an existing A-Frame component that was supposed to do that exact thing, but it seems to be either abandoned or not working correctly, so I just decided to write my own instead of going through that code and fixing it. As that project states, the base tech and idea has many potential uses. Gameplay animations, QAing your game, gameplay mechanics like I'm using, and just a lot more. Another thing was implementing the crane mechanic. I came up with this kind of at the last hour. The implementation of the joystick leaves a lot to be desired, but I really enjoyed the overall base idea and I want to make it more fun. I'll elaborate on this a little bit more later, but I want to have 2 joysticks and have you a lot more control over the replay head when you select it and remove it. Another addition that I really like is the elevators. I needed a place for the player to spawn, and I figured the elevator would be a perfect place to figure you're kind of coming down to the bottom floor of the factory. The elevator makes a little bit of noise and then dings as it opens up, and then about 25 seconds later it closes and makes an audible noise as well. Both the elevators operate simultaneously, and they can be called at any time, and they're actually animated, and that's the only thing currently animated in the scene. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but currently that's how it is. And there are also some motivational posters to encourage you while you ride. And of course these are more corporate demotivational posters, if you will, sort of only you can be the best you can be, and the less you care the happier you will be, kind of sarcastic things, because we all know working in a big corporation kills your soul. So, some of the immediate future plans are polish and bug fixing. I'm not very happy with the scene performance right now. As I started adding physics and more things to the scene, the FPS started dropping a little bit, and I want to fix that, as well as the bug related to when the FPS drops, both the recording and replays kind of speed up. So I want to fix those bugs and just make it work over a wider range of hardware. That includes more headsets, as well as different browsers. I've only tested it in FIREFOX with the HTC VIVE. So I'm not sure exactly what it works in. I know it currently doesn't work in Chrome. I want to fix that. And I also want to potentially try to run it locally at some point. And I found a library to do that, and I'll expand a little bit more about that on a future video. There's some more things I want to implement, like robot recycling. When I mentioned the better joysticks before, I want to have 2 joysticks, one that kind of moves maybe horizontally and one vertically, that are both obviously anchored in place so you can't move them, but have good movement, and you can pick up the robots and put them into the dumpster to recycle them. And maybe we'll have an endless mode, to where you can pick up the robots and keep doing it, and maybe you end up losing if you get too many wrong defective ones and the company ends up going out of business or something like that. So I just want to add more basic things like that. An art style overhaul. I want to add robot heads. I want to add a little bit just better like shaders and better textures and things like that. Just make it feel like you're in a factory. Make the whole area a little bit larger. Add more stations, potentially like a station for painting robots. Just add a few more like gameplay mechanics so it feels, more like an actual game rather than just kind of a small tech demo or prototype. Better randomization. I want to work on the locomotion a little bit, the teleportation so you can't go through walls. I want to attempt to do smooth teleportation or have the option for it. So yeah, I want to continue working on the game and just making it better and improving it. Well, that's all I've got for now. I'll make another video update when I have sufficient progress to share. If you played or get a chance to play Off-Killter, please let me know what you think. I've had some people give me feedback on the gameplay video, which I very much appreciate, but I haven't got any direct feedback on the latest update yet. So did you love it? Did you hate it? Was it just okay? Let me know in the video comments below or in the comment section of the itch.io page. As always, thanks for watching and make sure to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Do you want to see more content like this? Would you like to see more in-depth code reviews or deeper discussions into design decisions? Let me know in the comments below. You can find Off-Killter and all my other games at aloknat.itch.io. You can follow me on Twitter at @aloknat. Occasionally, you can catch me streaming at twitch.tv/aloknat. All links will be below in the description. Later.